All right, we're going to get started. Great to see everybody, as I mentioned. Hope you're staying safe and dry and warm on this little bit of a crazy day. At least we don't have it as bad as some other places in the country in terms of the storms. So hope everyone should just be well. I'm going to learn Rashi today from the second Aliyah of Parshas Yisro, a great parsha. We're going to read about Matan Torah later this week. But in the meantime, we've read in yesterday's Aliyah, in the first Aliyah, about the arrival of Yisro on the scene. It's a matter of great debate between Rashi, the Ramban, and others exactly when Yisro arrived, whether this parsha is in chronological order or not. But Yisro hears something about the greatness of the Jewish people and the exodus from Egypt and decides to join the Jewish people and his daughter and son-in-law and grandsons, etc., on their journey through the desert. And so Yisro arrives. In our Aliyah today, we learn a little bit of greater detail what Yisro sees when he comes. And he sees the disturbing image of Moshe as the judge or the arbiter for the Jewish people of halacha, of din, of judgment, based on the laws of the Torah that he just learned and just received at Har Sinai. And Yisro is concerned about what he sees and makes his suggestions for how to improve upon it in these famous psukim. So in the beginning of our Aliyah, Vahimi Macharas, we say that's the day after Yom Kippur. Moshe descended already with the Luchos. The Jewish people are forgiven. And now Moshe has a Torah with which to govern and judge the Jewish people. And so he engages in that act. Vayeshev Moshe lishpot et ha'am. Moshe sits to judge the people. Vaya'amod ha'am al Moshe min haboker ad ha'erev. And Moshe is standing, Moshe is sitting to judge, and the people are standing upon Moshe from the morning into the evening. Vayar chosein Moshe es kol asher hu oseh la'am. Yisro sees Moshe, his son-in-law, doing all these things for the nation. Vayomer ma davar hazeh asher ata oseh la'am. What is this thing that you're doing for the people? Madua ta yoshev levadecha v'chol ha'am nitzav alecha min haboker ad arev. Why are you sitting all alone and the entire nation is standing upon you? Min boker ad erev. From the morning into the night, 24/7, you're judging the people. I want to point to two Rashis on this pasuk. The second Rashi I want to start with first. Min boker ad erev. Actually, I made a mistake here. It's on this pasuk. It's the same expression. Highlight that for you. Min haboker ad ha'erev. It's the first description of it. Min haboker ad ha'erev. Efshar lomar kain. Is it possible to think Moshe really sat 24/7 from morning into evening every single day judging the people? Are we to take this pasuk literally? Ella kol dayan shedan din emes la'amiso sha'achas malalav ki'ilu osek b'torah kol hayom. Rather, we could take it as, a euphemism, not a euphemism, but a more loose description, not to take it literally, but a figurative description of what Moshe is engaged in, because we believe that any judge who judges according to the laws of the Torah with honesty and with scrupulousness, the way a judge is supposed to, even if they do that for one moment of the day, Mala alav hakasuv kil osek v'torah kol hayom, the Torah and Hashem considers it as if that person engaged in sincere Torah study and Torah action for the entire day. So one moment of proper judgment is as if you studied and implemented the Torah all day long. Not only that, v'kilu nasa shutav l'kadosh baruch hu b'ma'aseh bereshis, that dayan, that judge, the arbiter of halacha in this world, who does so honestly and scrupulously according to the laws of the Torah, is as if not only that they learned Torah all day, but they became a partner with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the creation and sustaining of the creation of the world. Shenemar v'erev v'yiboker yom echad. The same description here, boker, erev, etc., is used to describe the creation of the world. And so we put a judge on the pedestal just like that, as if he was a partner in the creation of the world. There's much to say about that, just in terms of understanding how crucial judgment, how crucial Torah is to the foundations of the world and of society, so much so that if a judge properly implements that, they're as if they partner with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the creation and sustaining of the world. But I want to point to something else here. So that just explains min boker ad ha'erev or min boker ad arev doesn't literally mean 24/7. A person could never survive like that with no eating, with no sleeping. It means figuratively 24/7 because he was engaged in it so much and so honestly that mala alav hakasuv, it's considered by the Torah and Hashem as if he engaged in it all day long. That's a Rashi that explains kind of the technicalities of how to read this part of the puzzle. But what I want to focus on is the first Rashi. Vayeshev Moshe vayamod ha'am. In both psukim, we have a contrast of the way Moshe is situated to the way the people are situated. Moshe is sitting in judgment, and the people, the nation, who are waiting to be judged, are standing. And Rashi has a comment about that, which I think is eye-opening, fascinating, something that we probably don't assume when we read these psukim based on what we know historically, what we know, what we've been taught, what we've looked at in the past. Vayeshev Moshe, vayamod ha'am. Yisro sees this scene and he inserts himself to say, this is not right. If I were to ask you, why is this not right? What would you say immediately? You would say, because Moshe could never survive. He could never sustain this. It's an unsustainable model. It's too difficult for Moshe. And you wouldn't be altogether wrong in saying that. If you look later in these psukim, that's exactly what seems to be described. Vayomer chosen Moshe elav, right here in Yud Zayin. Yisro says to Moshe, Lo tov hadavar asher ata oseh. It's not good what you're doing. Why is it not good? Nabol tibol. You're going to wither. You're going to surely wither. Those words stand out in our mind. Nabol tibol. So if I were to ask you cold in the middle of the night or on the street, I would wake you up. I would say, why did Yisro want to intervene and change the judicial system when he sees Moshe judging them all day and all night? Because he's worried about Moshe. He's worried about Moshe withering. He's worried about Moshe being able to withstand this kind of pressure day in and day out. However, Rashi says here, what was he really concerned about? He was concerned about the way they were situated. Moshe was Yoshev, and the people were Vayamod. Moshe was sitting, the people were standing. Yoshev kemelech v'kulam omdim. He was sitting like a king in judgment, and everyone was standing in line waiting to be judged. V'huksha hadavar li Yisro. Yisro was very concerned about this. Shahaya mizalzal bichvodan shel Yisrael. Because it seemed as if Moshe was disgracing or denigrating the honor of Israel. V'hochicho afal kach shenemar madua ta yoshev levadecha v'chol ha'am nitzavim. And he chastises him for this particular aspect, right? In his chastisement, Pasuk Yudalad here, which I highlighted, he says, Madua, the question he specifically asks is not, why are you judging all day long, but Madua ta yoshev levadecha v'chol ha'am nitzavim. Why are you alone sitting and everyone else is standing? Further highlighting the issue of the station, their physical positioning. What Yisro seems to be concerned about and why he interjects himself into this situation is not necessarily because he's worried about Moshe withering, although that's clearly part of what he describes here in the pasuk. But what he's really concerned about is the disparity between Yoshev and Nitzav, between Vayeshev and Vayamod, between the Jewish people standing and Moshe sitting like a king. He was worried about Chvodan Shel Yisrael. He was worried about the honor of the Jewish people and them feeling insulted or disgraced that Moshe was sitting comfortably in a chair as the judge, and they had to line up and stand for so long in line in order to receive their judgment, in order to know the truth of the law of the Torah. In actuality, I'm sure Yisro was concerned a little bit about both, as the pasuk here implies. Nabol tibol gam ata gam ha'am. You're going to wither, and the nation's going to wither. Ki kaved mimcha davar, because it's just too much for you. So the stress seems to be nabol tibol ki kaved mimcha davar. It seems to be, as we've assumed all along, that the issue Yisro had was with Moshe withering and with it being too much for Moshe to bear. But now we see both from the Rashi and from the little hint here in the pasuk, gam ha'am, that Yisro was also concerned with the fate of the nation and them feeling honored and respected, which is an important duality between the judge and the nation. In that hierarchy where the judge has all the power, so to speak, it could easily devolve into a situation where the people are feeling or actually made to be lower and the judge is made to be higher. The judge is made to be sitting and the people are made to be standing up on their feet all day long, withering and tired and fed up of the system. And that's not something Yisro wanted as they started their journey of Torah learning and Torah judgment in this world. He wanted it to be a positive experience for all of them and each party to be respected in the right way. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy.
You too.
Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
Rabbi.
you.
Rabbi. Yes, Ed.
You know, it's